Hello friends, I'm Paul Shin. Today's video is not about Ford Model A's. No, it is about this piece of garbage. The one that Tina and I affectionately refer to as the Blue Collar Mobile. This is a 2006 Chevrolet LBZ truck. LBZ means it has the Duramax V8 turbo diesel motor, has the Allison 6-speed automatic transmission. This truck has four-wheel drive, locking differentials, utility box on the back, ladder rack on the top. And this truck has the absolute bare bones interior. It's the work truck level package, which means rubber floor mats, vinyl seats, not even a radio. This thing just came as stripped as you can get it. And this truck now, as it pushes 300,000 miles, I thought maybe now is the time to just finally tell the story. I wanted to tell you about it, but you know, this channel's never been about me. This channel is about the cars. I have no delusions about that at all. I understand that. But this truck is kind of special, and this truck means the world to me. And I thought, now's the time really to tell the story about this truck. So besides just being, you know, the truck that puts food on our table, you know, I work 60, 80 hours a week still. I have a real job. I'm an engineer. I work in broadcasting. Some of you know that, which means I have to get to radio, television, and transmitter sites, which are usually on hilltops, no roads. Sometimes you got to color outside the lines if a station's off the air. I've had to drag a 200 kilowatt generator up to a hill with this thing. I've dragged bulldozers with this thing. This thing has pretty much been Archimedes for me. It's moved the world. Yeah, so a Chevrolet on a Ford Model A channel. Go figure. So I've got some footage from way back when I first wanted to tell you the story of this truck and share, and I just didn't, because it just didn't fit with the Model A stuff. But now with the weather being so crummy in California right now, in fact, as you watch this, I'm probably busy repairing storm damage still here on Mount Shin. We had 80+ mile-per-hour winds a week ago today. And yeah, it's been pretty ugly out here, and I've had to do a whole lot of running around to work. I have not worked in my shop at all. It's been just one emergency after another at the broadcast stations, at the studios. And this truck here is saving the day over and over. So I think it's time. This truck really deserves a chance to have a little bit of limelight. So I'm going to share with you the story of me and this truck, and why this truck is so important to me and my family. The story of this truck really begins in 2005. So late 2005, I had a stroke. So I wake up one morning, my left leg, my left arm don't work. So found out I had the stroke and everything, and it was going to be a little bit of a road to recovery, but I was going to eventually recover. But meanwhile, the truck I'd been using for work had a 5-speed manual transmission. Well, how do I drive that, especially on hilltops and dangerous places? Well, the answer was I need to get a vehicle with an automatic transmission, and I need it now. So the company where I was working for was great. They were just absolutely supportive the whole time, you know, as long as you take to get, you know, but I never missed a day of work because I'm a workaholic. But they said, you know what, you're so far under budget, why don't you just buy yourself a truck? I was like, well, I hadn't even thought of that. So I did. So I figured out what I needed. I needed a truck, needed to be full size, needed to have four-wheel drive, locking differentials. And I wanted to put a utility box on it, and I put it out for bid. And then one thing led to another, and I had a Ford truck all specced out, ready to go. Then I walked into the general manager of the stations at the time, and I told her what was going on. Here's the Ford truck I want to buy. And she said, well, you know, our #1 advertiser is the Chevrolet dealer. And you need to buy this truck from the Chevrolet dealer because they're pretty much the ones that are making everybody's paycheck not bounce. I was like, oh, okay, loyalty belongs where loyalty belongs. So I respec'd it for a Chevrolet, which really wasn't a Chevrolet guy, never have been. But all of a sudden, you know, if the boss says, hey, this is what you're gonna buy, you do what your boss says, right? So I spec'd out this Chevrolet truck, sent it to the Chevrolet dealer. It came in within budget, and I ordered it. So the truck was ordered just strictly as a cab and chassis. Didn't have a bed on it, didn't have this on it. So the dealer was really nice, and they kind of felt sorry for me because I couldn't really walk around too well, but I hadn't missed any work. I'm just working. So they said, you know what, we'll do the bed installation and all that on it. You don't even have to worry about it. So they actually took care of everything. I got to go down to the Chevy dealer and pick this up pretty much as you see it. So immediately this truck got put to work. And this truck and I have worked our butts off. Then I left that company in 2013 and I went to work for a different company. And the truck was supposed to be driven by one of the 2 people that they had to hire to replace me. Apparently that person didn't like the truck very much. So I guess he only drove it a couple times and said, no, I don't like it. And they parked it. And he wanted to buy a different truck or use his own truck, whatever. So they put it into a storage facility, an outdoor storage place where people store recreational vehicles. And that's where it sat for 7.5 years. So the story kind of comes around full circle, because at one point I was just kind of curious what happened to my old truck. You know, I mean, this truck and I had such a history together. I mean, I've been to hell and back so many times. I was just kind of wondering whatever happened to the old truck. So I started calling around and nobody knew. So finally I talked to one lady who'd been with the company ever since I'd been there the first time. And I asked her, hey, what's up? And she says, I think that truck's in storage. I said, which one? She says, I don't know, but it's where they store RVs and stuff. So I went on Google Earth and I started looking around at all the storage areas, starting from where that studio location was and just kind of fanning out. And then I found it in a storage facility about 3 miles from there, what I thought might be the truck, looking at Google Earth. So I pinpointed, put a pin on the map, I drove out there, and I talked my way into this place, and sure enough, there it was. It had been vandalized, and all the tools and everything were gone out of it. The interior seats had been ripped up, the dash had been damaged, and it, of course, had been sitting for 7.5 years. So the batteries were gone out of it, and there was just, you know, wasp nests everywhere and all that. It looked terrible, but it was the truck. This piece of garbage that's been sitting here for 7 years. Well, this truck and I have a history. So just for grins and giggles during COVID, I thought, I'm going to track down my old truck and I'm going to see just, you know, is it junk now? Whatever happened to it? They had no idea they still owned it. So they've been paying title on this thing and insurance and registration ever since I left the company. And it's been parked here. They've been paying storage on it as well. So just for grins, I inquired, can I buy the truck from you? I thought it'd be fun. I could turn it into a Model A parts chase truck or something for tours. Well, come to find out, they can't sell cars to people. There's a process. I'll explain a little bit later, but long short of it, I found the truck and I bought it. And then I had to do everything to it. So everything rubber, meaning, you know, tires, belts, hoses, everything was all gone. It had to be replaced. The entire fuel system had to be replaced. Every injector, the fuel pump, the fuel lines, the fuel tank had to be flushed. All that had to be redone, the fuel rail, everything. So I get the truck all put back together, flushed the transmission, flushed the rear end, flushed the front differential, flushed everything. And I remember on the first startup, there was one hose I forgot, and I got sprayed with power steering fluid. So, oh, there's a power steering hose. Okay, so I replaced that. Anyway, the truck was running and driving again. I started using it for work again almost immediately. And it was so weird. The first drive in the truck after not having been in it for 8 years, felt like I'd never been out of it. It just felt like my truck, like it had always been. So now as the truck gets close to 300,000 miles, I use it for work almost every day. Oh, by the way, just so happens about 6 months ago, I went back to work for that original company that I used to work for, and I took my old job back. So I'm doing the work of 2 people again, and I'm doing it with this truck. If not for this truck, I don't think I could. Because having all your tools and test gear with you all the time, no matter where you go, at what site, whatever you run into. I go up to a hilltop, let's say, and I see that the cable's hanging off the tower blowing in the wind. I've got cable hangers right here in the truck. I don't have to drive down the hill, go find some somewhere maybe, or order them, get them in, then make another trip up to the hill. I just do it right there on the spot. It's done. So I don't think I'd be able to do the work of 2 engineers if not for this truck. This truck is very special. I'm sure you've seen this truck pop up in videos in the past. It's always towing a Model A somewhere or rescuing a Model A somewhere. It's not just used for work. I use this truck for pleasure occasionally as well. My friend Zach Pradel, who I think is the best automotive reviewer anywhere on YouTube, even did a full review of this truck. I'll link to it below. Here's a clip.
All right, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2006 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD. Up front is a 6.6 liter turbocharged diesel V8, and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this here Silverado because this is an LBZ, meaning it has the good engine, the good transmission, and I'll explain what all of that means in a little bit.
My friend Dave says that if I slap this on here, that'll fix everything. What do you think?